Journey with me through the emotional experience of love, devotion, and ultimate heartbreak in raising my son with significant disabilities. This is a collection of memoirs that capture a life well lived. I hope it inspires, I hope it teaches, and I hope it entertains. Thank you for joining me. I kept some journaling that I did shortly thereafter Danny was born. I also kept calendars, and so I have the dates and times, and it's like a diary of some of the things that went on, and it's a good capture of my life, and so I'll share those with you as well. These are excerpts I want to read from a journal that I kept in the very first days that Danny was born. So these are his very first 10 days, as I had mentioned. December 18th, 1996. Danny is born at 9:10 a.m. weighing 5 pounds and 4 ounces. I see him and touch him during surgery. I visit him later on, but I'm way too drugged to comprehend. Lots of doctors and nurses talk to me and try to explain that there's a breathing problem. I see him twice today, and I don't sleep at all tonight. December 19th. Jonathan has a very rough day. The doctors still have no answers as to why he's not breathing on his own. He sees many specialists, and none have an answer. All organs, including lungs, are in order and working fine. They tried to extubate him twice, but had negative results. He has many dusky episodes, and alarms are all around him. His tube clogs and must be replaced. His airway is swollen from replacing the tube. He's sedated and left alone, and we are waiting for neurology to consult. He will breathe on his own with the tube in place with a little help from the respirator, but can't fully breathe on his own. He has one episode throughout the night and develops jaundice. My mom and I were there for rounds on December 20th, and we learned a lot more. I finally get to hold my baby today, but only for a short time. I change his diaper, and I'm so happy when he pees all over me. Santa came to visit the NICU with gifts, and I took a picture of my baby. December 21st. We were there when neurology comes to consult, and they note that the baby displays irregular movements. Danny goes for a CAT scan, and the results all come back positive. Positive as in, he's going to be okay. He gets a lumbar tap, and that too shows everything is totally normal. Everyone is puzzled, and the specialists can't give me an answer. Danny sure is a puzzle. Today I get to really hold him. He looked up into my eyes today for the first time, and I instantly fell in love. Nothing quite felt real until this moment, and for the first time I kissed him on the face. He has never been more relaxed before, and I felt like $1,000,000. I have never been more in love. I can't wait for answers. I can't wait to take my baby home. December 23rd. Danny got an EEG today, and the results were normal. Also, he was extubated and did great without tubes. His oxygen sats are up, and he looks great. What a difference without those tubes. I held him tight, and I got to look at his face. He's so beautiful. December 25th. Danny is a week old today, and he's still doing fine. I held him and dressed him up for some pictures. That was Nanny's Christmas present. I put him in a Santa sock, and he had his eyes wide open. He has heart rate drops, but he's still able to get them back up himself. December 26th. Danny's doing great. His bilirubin count went down, and so he's off his lights. His heart rate still drops, and he's having more difficulty getting it back up. He had his second bath today, and then a cuddle. December 27th. Danny had a hard day today. He had many heart rate drops, dusky episodes, and he had to be suctioned often. He was intubated that evening and sedated. December 28th. Danny slept peacefully today. For the first time, I went home. I didn't touch too much on some of the, I guess, from my perspective, errors that were made along the way. And I think that the diary alluded to some of the biggest. So in the first 10 days, the tests were reported to me as having come back normal, completely normal, you know, a puzzle. And then shortly thereafter, I was told that indeed it wasn't normal. In fact, it was grossly abnormal. And I learned along those lines that there was disagreements between neurologists and radiologists who were reading the CAT scans. So that was me with incredible hope to take my son home. Obviously before the meeting that took place where they told me he wasn't going to live, that he would need to have the machine turned off, that he would probably pass away shortly thereafter, and that I would need to prepare in all ways for this event. And so it was a scene, I think, that most parents could imagine, one that's probably played out in movies. I absolutely collapsed. I fell off the chair crying. I was in disbelief. I couldn't believe what they were telling me. There was just no way he was going to die. And so I tried to keep hope as much as I could. I do remember coming in to visit with Danny. We decided if he did pass away, that there were members in my family, along with my family doctor at the time, who really felt strongly that Danny ought to be baptized. Again, it was holiday season, would have been early January. It was very difficult to find a priest. My family was Catholic at the time. Some still are. In any event, a priest was brought in to give Danny his last rites, to pray upon him and my family. And I remember we came on that day. I, of course, had special clothes. As far as I was concerned, it was a baptism, and I remember coming around the corner and I realized right away that his machine was gone. And I collapsed. I remember I fell to my knees. I wasn't sure what was going on, but I knew that his breathing machine was no longer by his side. I wasn't sure if he was alive, and I really wasn't sure if he was fighting for his life. I managed to get to the incubator where he laid, and I looked in to see that he was indeed alive and breathing on his own. And I actually have old VHS video of that. It'd be nice at some point to revive that video of his baptism. And as we baptized him, we watched in horror and hope to see what would happen. I mean, I was told that he wouldn't survive once they removed the machine. I wasn't even sure why the machine was moved when we hadn't even baptized him. That, you know, I thought I would have a chance and some time. In any event, he was baptized. He was given his last rites. Videos, pictures were taken. He continued to breathe. And he breathed. He continued to breathe. And he lived. And I just kept hoping and sitting by his side. Shortly thereafter the episode, we of course, you know, confronted his team and said, why was that gone? And apparently the story I had was that it was a new resident on board. She was new to call. She came around and did rounds, and upon a thorough assessment, but lack of history knowledge, felt like Danny was doing well and simply removed his machine. And when the doctors found that he did well, in spite of the error that was made, that it probably would have caused more chaos and harm to reinsert the tube, and so they decided to take a wait and see approach. Clearly I'm grateful for that. However, it doesn't remove the fact that there was a real debacle in terms of communication through the whole event. And the sad thing is that I learned that I wasn't alone. This was not a rare occurrence where communication was so bad that it left parents more stressed than they really needed. Undue stress, really. So I did have meetings with social workers in terms of the discharge planning. In those days, in-home support was available to families of children with complex medical care needs. I was put in contact with those folks, also with the Progress Center for Early Intervention in those days. And I packed him up and I took him home. And I was 21. I had no medical background. I had simply graduated from high school. That's it. Clearly uneducated, inexperienced. Danny's dad was also inexperienced. Looking back, they essentially sent him home to die. Dad would feed overnight. I would feed all day. We medicated him, and the medical life independently began, although, as mentioned, it really began shortly thereafter.